Well, Carl, welcome to AI Talks, and thanks for helping us close out with some excitement. I have to admit, I did a bunch of these today, but this is the one I'm most excited for because the way that it seems the Department of Energy is really kind of grouping together around this as sort of a next Manhattan project is really exciting. But welcome to the stage.
Thank you very much. How many of you are familiar with the Genesis mission? It's hard to see hands, but okay, a good chunk. So it can't be understated how important this initiative is. We really, in our country's history, we've had two major scientific initiatives. We had the Manhattan Project, of course, and we had the Apollo mission. It's our strong belief that the Genesis mission is on par with the two of those. It is that monumental, it is that important, and it is getting that level of attention within DOE, within the university community, within industry. It's at the very top of the list of most important things we're working on.
Well, take us through what, as this becomes a massive focus across the entire department and wider than that, it's a big role for industry and academia to play and research community. How are you rallying the troops together around that? And particularly, there's some tight timelines, deadlines that you have to adhere to. So how are you making sure that you're moving the folks quickly enough?
Yeah, there are several layers to that. So I guess I have to start, number one, with Secretary Wright. He's a true nerd. I mean, he really understands the technology at a deep level. He's our most qualified Secretary of Energy we've ever had, not just on energy, but all things science. He went to undergrad for fusion at MIT and has a very broad understanding of the tech landscape. And then secondly, Dr. Dario Gil. I don't know if you're familiar with Dr. Gil. He was the head of IBM Research for many years, and he's the Undersecretary for Science, and his primary focus is on Genesis. So he's our Oppenheimer. And because we have Dario, industry and universities, the lab community is just so inspired by him, his ability to articulate, to drive the mission, drive the vision, but articulate it in a way that everybody understands. So you've got the labs. This is their Super Bowl times 10. This is what they've all waited on all these years, is a mission, a project at this level with this much momentum to work on, this much meaning. Then you've got industry. The hyperscalers and everybody around them is just all in. Whatever we ask, they're willing to do. And then finally, the universities. We just, a couple of weeks ago, we threw together this conference very quickly for university attendees, and we had over 500 attendees with a lot of university presidents and others. So the momentum is there. The science and technology community has never been this inspired, this excited. And now it's up to us to make sure we live up to what they need.
That's tremendous. I know it's been five months. Is it quite that since it was announced?
Don't ask me about time. I have no idea.
All that to say, it's not been a long time, but I'm curious, what would you consider some early wins so far for the mission?
Yeah, great question. So I think the most important thing is the momentum that's been created, the inspiration that's been created, but a specific example is, many of you may know, we've released the 27 lighthouse problems that Genesis is going to focus on. By the way, above that, what is the goal? What is Genesis? It is AI for science, AI for defense across all of U.S. government, with DOE being the lead. And it makes sense we're the lead because we have the national labs, we've got the scientists. But at a high level, that's what it is. We spend $1 trillion a year at R&D across the country in all forms, and we firmly expect to be able to get double the output for that same $1 trillion. So what are we focused on? These first 27 lighthouse missions we announced a month or so, 6 weeks ago. Those 27 lighthouse are across quantum, fusion, material science, semiconductors, pharmaceuticals. It's vast in those first set of 27. And then we announced those 27, and then we announced we want a consortium, we want teams to come back to us to tell us how they'll specifically attack those 27 problems. That will be done in May, and then by July 4th, we want to announce the winners of the teams that are going to go first on those 27. So those teams will include universities, industries, the labs, and others.
So it sounds like we'll hear some, progress soon over the summer, and that's really exciting. The one thing I would be remiss if I didn't mention, anytime we talk about a massive project in government, you need the support, you need the funding, you need the backing to make it happen. We're currently in budget season, and looks like from, top line documents that there is some support there, at least from the White House. We'll see how that goes through Congress. But as Congress is weighing it and thinking about how important it is to get this project fully funded, what do you hope they take away from that, and then how do you what kind of support do you think you need to make sure that this thing is done successfully on the timeline that you want to get it done on?
Yeah, funding is the answer. I mean, this is a massive project, and we don't, even though the White House has allocated a good amount, we need a lot more. And one of the challenges is defining exactly how much it is we need. It's a bigger number than you can see. So the great news is this has tremendous bipartisan support. Some real fiscal hawks on the Hill are leaning in and supporting this, both sides of the aisle. This is a nonpartisan issue. This is about solving the most critical problems of humankind. Every dollar we spend on AI is intelligence on the other end. You've probably heard that today. It's really true in this case. So we don't get a lot of resistance on the Hill. In fact, we get tremendous support. Industry is all in. But it's a little bit about defining how much is needed. I think we're going to get enough to get launched. I know we'll get enough to get launched. The out years is where we really need to solidify.
All right. Well, it sounds like you've got, the support of industry. It sounds like Congress is, willing to help. Obviously, the administration is trying to back it. What are the things that are standing in your way at this point? What are those challenges or question marks that you see at this point in time that you need the help of the folks in the room here today to get you across that?
Yeah, just to understand how critical this is to humankind, how impactful this can be to impacting disease, impacting our most critical technical challenges in the country, that this has the might of the U.S. government, the might of the university system, the might of the labs, the might of industry, hopefully the might of the Hill. This is going to be as impactful a project of our time as we have in our time, and it's all for good. It is all for good. It's going to make our generation and generations beyond us survive longer, healthier, solve the most critical problems faster. Our challenge is defining it, getting the funding for it, keeping the team together, keeping the momentum going forward. We talk a lot, time, when you're in administration, time goes so fast, and candidly, we need this to live on its own well beyond us, well beyond our time. We don't want to use a negative point like the CHIPS Act that was a good idea that's not lived up to its potential. We cannot have that scenario. And so good news is it is bipartisan. Congress is with us. One last point, we're going to be doing, in classified settings, we're going to be doing demos at the White House, at the Hill, so people can visualize some of the things. It's pretty amazing what we've done already and what's possible. And sometimes people just need to see it, to feel it, and I think that will solidify things.
Well, it'll be fascinating to see, and we'll definitely keep an eye on it. Can't wait to see what comes this summer. Carl, thanks so much for your time. Let's give him a round of applause and thank him for his time on stage.